So we decided that we wanted to do a full expansion. We were going to do more points. We looked at it and said, usually when an MMO does an expansion, you increase the level cap. But we really did not want to do that for Guild Wars 2. We thought it would be not so great for the game. We thought it would really feel like for players that worked really hard to get to the level cap, or suddenly say, you're not the level cap anymore, you have to do more to get to the level cap.
You have to get new items.
Exactly. We'd have to do. We really have never been about doing stat increases, so we didn't really want to go down that road. We also didn't like the fact that a lot of times when you increase the level cap, you make the existing content sort of obsolete, and then no one ever really plays it. And we spent a lot of time in Guild Wars 2 making sure that all of the maps are always fun to play, like no matter what level you are. So we didn't like that very much. So we decided we were going to do something totally different, and we wanted to have a totally different kind of progression system in the game. So we were really inspired by classic games like Metroid and Zelda. We really love this idea that in those games, whenever you get an item or an ability, it suddenly just sort of like opens up more of the game. And it really feels incredibly rewarding. And you think to yourself like, oh yes, now that I have this, I'm going to go back and do all these things that I wanted to do. We wanted to bring that feeling to Guild Wars 2, and that's sort of what inspired the Mastery system. And ultimately the Mastery system is very similar to that. It's all about gaining abilities that are specifically like impactful to the area that you're in, that open up more content and more access to things that you're doing. So we're going to look at some videos today that sort of show a lot of the Mastery system. First we're going to get this amazing announcement.
Bitte achten Sie auf Ihre Werksachen. Vielen Dank. Security guards, dear visitors, please be careful with your valuables.
Please be careful with your valuables, guys. As we all know. So this is the Mastery panel right here. Right now we have it so that all the Masteries are unlocked because this is sort of to show this stuff off to you guys. If you can see on the left, there's sort of a set of Mastery tracks, and then each one of them, and we have gliding selected right now, has a whole bunch of different Masteries inside of it. And so you get them in sort of progressive order once you're actually in the track. So for gliding, I think the first thing that you're going to get is glider basics. I mean, that just gives you a glider and lets you actually glide around in the world. But then, as you progress further and further down in the gliding track, you're going to get more sophisticated techniques and like sort of cooler stuff. And eventually, you get the ability to stealth glide, so you can get invisible wire gliding, and all the way down to getting ley line gliding, which allows you to glide into ley line energy flows, and they sort of rocket you off into places that you otherwise couldn't go to, which is pretty cool. To actually unlock Masteries, it's a combination of experience and Mastery points. So when you hit level 80, after Heart of Thorns comes out, your experience bar is going to switch over to no longer be tracking levels, instead it's going to track Masteries. And to train a Mastery, you just want to earn experience to fill out that bar. You do it the normal way that you would do it. You just get events and unlock the map and like kill monsters. Like any of the stuff that would normally give you experience for playing will contribute to Masteries. But it does have to be in the area in which the Mastery is associated. So the things like gliding and Itzalor, like all those things you see on the left, those are for the Heart of Maguma. So you do have to be in the Heart of Maguma in order to train them. Once you fill the bar up, you're going to want to spend Mastery points in order to unlock the ability. So Mastery points are things you can get from like achievements or killing bosses, completing story steps. You can even find some of them out in the world in sort of hard to reach places. So they represent sort of actual cool things that you've done inside of that area. So we wanted the system to be a combination of time spent and cool stuff that you did. And so you put those together and that's what you get to unlock a Mastery. So we're going to show you some of the Masteries in action. Here she is, sort of jumping through a waterfall. You can see that the maps in Heart of Maguma are very vertical. They're very dense. There's a lot of layers in a lot of places. There's all these NPCs sort of walking around and events happening, but she's just sort of gliding through here. You can see her demonstrate here, I think, gliding, stealth gliding. Yeah, there we go. So there's actually enemies in the Heart of Maguma that will snipe you out of the air, so you have to be careful and stealth to get through them and sort of avoid their attacks. You can also see her sort of like braking and accelerating. Those are all, they do drain your gliding bar, but they are sort of techniques that allow you to have more control over the way that you're gliding and possibly get sort of difficult to get to places. Another really cool thing for gliding is updrafts. So these swirling columns of air are updrafts. Once you glide into them after you have the mastery for them, they'll sort of shoot you up into the sky. This is really helpful so you get to higher places, or actually just to extend your gliding, right? Because you're always sort of gliding down. What she's doing is actually an updraft puzzle. So we did do a couple of these around where there's sort of like a series of updrafts, and if you hit all of them in the right order.
So something like the jumping puzzles.
Exactly, yeah. But in the sky. Yeah. So it's like, you know, if you hit all of these, this will lead you to a treasure chest at the end, so you can get a reward. This particular updraft puzzle actually leads you to another mastery point. So the system sort of builds on itself. If you get a mastery point to unlock an ability, that allows you to get to another mastery point and unlock more abilities, and sort of so on and so forth. This one's a particularly long sort of updraft puzzle. There are some of them that are a little harder to do. So there's a little bit of skill involved in some of them to sort of get into tight places. But you'll sort of find them around in different maps. You'll also just see updrafts, just like I said, for utility purposes, like to get you up high somewhere, let you go further. So the next one I'm going to show you is the Itzel lore track. So the Itzel are a new race, friendly NPC race that you're going to meet out in the jungle. They're sort of like little free-for-all guys. They know a lot about mushrooms. They know a fair bit about poison, so they can teach you those things through their mastery track. So the first one is just bouncing mushrooms. These are like springy mushrooms that you can bounce on top of and sort of like rocket you off somewhere. Then there's also it's a language, so you can learn to speak their native language. That makes them a little bit friendlier to you, a little more open to you. And then you can like buy things from their vendors, and they'll talk to you about some of their lore and history, which is kind of fun. As I said, they do know a lot about poisons. They can teach you ways like avoid poison damage that's out in the jungle. And then adrenal mushrooms is one of the cooler things in their line. These are rare mushrooms that you find out in the world in a few places. When you use them, they instantly refresh all of your skills. Even your F skill, your special skills, and your lead skills. So you can sort of like empty out and then sort of get an immediate refresh and sort of do it again, which is a lot of fun. There's some really crazy shenanigans that Vesper's can get up to with that. We're going to show you the jumping mushrooms. Here she's like across the way from this village. And she can use the jumping mushrooms to sort of like get over there really quickly and jump right into this fight. A lot of times you will see the mushrooms used that way, like they're very convenient ways to sort of get around, especially because it is sort of multi-level. But we also use them to get you to places otherwise you just couldn't get to. And then we do use them in some jumping puzzles. So of course you'll see jumping mushrooms and jumping puzzles. The next one that we each have is the Exalted lore line. The Exalted are a race that you're going to meet a little bit further inside of the jungle. They're a little bit more magical. They've left all kinds of like magical ruins and magical artifacts all over the jungle, and their master line can help you learn to use those things. So Exalted markings lets you use those ruins, and they can do all kinds of things like teleport you places, let you control a golem to do battle with, or light up like a dark cave. They also have Exalted Assistance. So that one is, there's a set of these sort of artifacts that you find around in the jungle, the recall devices. When you use them, it summons an Exalted warrior to come fight with you. And they can like help you kill enemies, or heal you, or res you, and things like that. And then the last one is Exalted Honing. So this is a combat ability that they can teach you. A lot of the enemies that you're going to find around the jungle, especially like the champs and like bosses and stuff, have something called impenetrable bark, which is a very hard armor that protects them so they can't damage their break bar.
Like the car.
Yeah, exactly. So once you learn this ability, you can pierce through that, and then that lets you do like massive damage to their break bar, and then you can make them vulnerable, which is pretty cool. We're actually going to show you though is Exalted Purification. So this mastery actually lets you summon a boss monster that you can fight once a day.
Where are we?
This is deep underneath the Forgotten City. This is not a map that we've shown people.
Okay.
That's what it was like.
Yes, this is an area we have not shown before.
It looks really interesting.
Yes.
The enemy too.
The Forgotten City is very interesting. This guy is pretty hard, actually. It'd be difficult to fight him with one person, so you're probably going to get a little group together and come down here and summon him. But if you can defeat him, you sort of get cool loot. Fun stuff. The next thing we're going to show you lore line. The Nuoc are a different kind of highlight. They're sort of bullfrogs, a bigger highlight that you meet. They know a lot about hunting. They're going to teach you to like take special items off of foes. So once you learn that mastery, when you loot enemies in the part of the game, you're going to get additional stuff off of them, and special things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to get. This also teaches you how to harvest saga mushrooms, which are a new kind of harvesting node. They also have Nuoc wallows. This is like a series of tunnels they have that's underneath the jungle. And you can get to use them once you know this mastery. They'll help you like move around more quickly. Stealth detection that lets you see invisible enemies, which is totally fine for you. But one of the really cool things down at the bottom is Nuoc alchemy. The Nuoc are sort of at war with this new sort of enemy race called the Chalk. They're kind of insect guys, and so we have a video of that. But they sort of swarm. A lot of the little guys shoot this like blue goop at you. It gets stuck on you and slows you down, and it does a lot of damage. Eventually, if you get too much of it on you, it actually like stuns you inside of a crystal that you have to like block out of. But the Nuoc Alchemy Mastery lets you learn to use your heal skill to instantly clear all of the gear. So like anytime you use your heal skill, you just like get rid of all your stats. So those are the mastery tracks that we're going to have for the Heart of Mugema. But of course, we were talking about earlier, one of the reasons we didn't do a level cap increase was we wanted the existing world to still be relevant. So Central Tyria, so we're going to call it Central World, the existing world, is getting its own set of masteries. So it'll have its own set of masteries that you'll need to go back to Central Tyria in order to train. The first one is the Pack Commander Mastery. This is all about being a mentor to the lower level players and helping them sort of level up. So the first thing you get here is actually a special commander tag that goes over your head that marks you as a mentor. And also you get a chat tag that says mentor, which makes you
Sure, it's like the road umbrella in the PvE.
It's like that, yeah, but it's more PvE, exactly. Yeah, okay. Which is pretty cool. We see a lot of our players basically do this already. Like they'll go to the little zone, they really want to help everybody. Yeah, and this is really nice because then they can actually officially sort of tag themselves up and say, yeah, I'll totally help. Also in this line, you get the ability to res people faster. So you get a little bit of a speed boost on your res for someone who's also level 80, but players that are lower level, you get a much faster res.
But that works only in PvE? Only
in PvE, yeah. You actually can use it in Heart of Mugema. You just have to train it. But you will be able to use it, yeah, you can still res people up. Now, when you're in the Heart of Mugema, you're probably going to only run across people who are level 80, since it is a level 80 zone. You still get a little bit of a boost on your res from level 80. So you just get a really, really big boost on it when you people who are lower level.
And the city swiftness buff.
Yes, this line also gives you a permanent swiftness boost in the city. It goes up and gets faster the further down the road you get. Yes. And then finally at the end you get auto loot, which is something that a lot of people ask for. And we thought it would be a really cool mastery to get. So you'll unlock that as you get all the units. A lot of stuff to encourage you to like go back and sort of play in the lower level zones and like, you know, hopefully be there for the younger players and sort of teach them how to play too. The next line is the Fractal Attunement Mastery line. So we just announced last week we're doing a big overhaul to Fractals. We're doing a lot of cool stuff with them. We're getting a lot of love for the Heart of Thorns release. They're also getting a mastery line. This mastery line has like additional dailies you can unlock for Fractals, more agony infusions that you can get from Fractals. It also has something we're calling singularities. These are a new type of buff. They sort of actually are physical little glowing orbs that you see in the fractals, and if you have the mastery, you can run and grab them, and they give you a short boost.
So it's the opposite
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I'll have to tell our designer that did that would be really happy that you like the connection. So yeah, like there's different ones in all the fractals that sort of like attuned to that fractal. They're really fun. They can help you, especially at really high levels when you have like a lot of gambits on it. They can really help you like sort of get through those tricks. Last but like definitely not least, legendary precursor crafting mastery is part of Central Tyria Masteries. You know, right now the only way to get a precursor is get lucky.
Yeah.
very lucky. We wanted to add, we've been saying we wanted to add another way to get precursors, so we're putting a whole system in for Heart of Thorns that allows you to sort of just walk through sort of like a 3-step process. It includes you get a mastery, and you also get a collection that you need to fill out, and then a recipe that you need to do. Those collections take you like all over the game, collecting items, doing things, doing like little some quests for NPCs, even like funny stuff. Like it's all themed around the particular legendary you're working on. So like there's one where you have to like go dance with like a bunch of prominent NPCs out in the world. That's really cool. Yeah, each one of them is themed to the legendary. Yeah. That's for the viewers. So, at the end of it, you have a precursor, and then you can go craft a legendary. For existing legendaries, we're not changing anything about the existing way to get them. You can still get lucky and get them dropped. You can still get them off the trading post. We're not going to take any of that away. But if you want to do it this way, you can. For the new legendaries, this is the only way that you'll be able to get them. So we're doing a new set of legendaries. We're going to start with 3 that'll be available when we launch Heart of Thorns, and then we'll add more over time to the full set. That set, as you can see, I said there was a 3-step process here, precursor, but there's 4 sets of masteries here. The 4th one actually takes you all the way to the legendary for the new legendaries. So you'll actually be able to follow this kind of process all the way through. It's a little bit more guided, and a little bit easier for players to figure out like what's the next step that I have to do. Because we've noticed that for a lot of players, even like that last step of crafting legendary can be a little confusing. Like where do I go? Like how do I get all these things? So we're making it sort of like a full process that goes through here. The new legendaries, as I said, the only way to get them is this. They're not tradable. They will be specifically for prestige, so to show off that you took the time and actually did them. So that's all the masteries that we're going to launch with Heart of Thorns. So there's 3 lines for Central Tyria, 4 lines for the Heart of Maguma. Altogether, there's 39 masteries that we'll have when we launch. But the system is very extensible, and our plan is that as we add more content to the game, we will add more masteries. So you can expect to see more masteries coming. We're doing this expansion and we're really excited about it, but it doesn't change who we are as a game. We're still the living world game. We're still totally committed to having lots of updates to the game, constantly adding new content. When you buy a game from us, you should expect to get years of support. That's not changing just because we're doing an expansion. It doesn't mean we're going to go like only paid expansions or anything like that. We're going to have a lot of really exciting stuff coming. As I said, even new masteries and more content.
Wow.
Yeah.
How can we get mastery points in the old world?
So it's the same kind of stuff, like achievements, completing story steps, world bosses, things like that. A lot of that stuff people already have done who have been playing the game for a long time, so a lot of that stuff will get grandfathered over. But there will be a couple of new things that we add in that you can do to get mastery points.
Will we need more enemy resistance in the upcoming fractals?
So yeah, we are sort of looking at rebalancing the way that curve goes. Now that fractals are going to go up to level 100, there will be a need for more. So we're sort of trying to rebalance the way that you get it and add more places for you to sort of put Anthony in so that you can like keep up with that curve. So
Fractal bag piece.
yeah.
There isn't any masteries for it.
There's no masteries for the fractal back piece. Oh well, you will need the fractal attunement mastery in order to make the back, in order to finish making the back piece. So once you will, you'll see. I think at some point we'll do sort of details on it, like exactly what the steps are. It's very similar to the legendary weapon steps. Like you get a collection, and then you get a recipe, and you get a collection, and you get a recipe, sort of watch it. We're going to try to do that for all the legendaries very forward, so that there's a little more step-by-step process.
Would you say the mastery, all masteries are more for PvP players?
Absolutely. So this is definitely our PvE progression system. World v World sort of has a progression system that we like. We actually like the World v World ability system, but we didn't want to rip that out. We also never want to create a situation where we said, if you really love World v World, you need to go play a ton of PvE in order to become competitive in World v World. Sort of let them keep their own sort of progression system. And then with PvP, for us, it's always been, it's a skill-based game. We don't want to put a lot of like levels or like grinding into it. It's really just about your skill that you learn with PvP.
Are there any plans to bring a backpack for World World or PvP players a legendary?
I can't say. We have not announced it.
Okay.
Soon. Nothing is off the table.
I will say, you know, we're committing now that hardcore is definitely coming this year. Yeah, that's what we've been saying during Gamescom. We don't have an exact date, but I will say that we do have more announcements actually. There's still stuff that we haven't announced yet about hardcore. So exciting. There's more elite specializations coming. There's some really exciting reveals coming up soon. So there's some good stuff.
When did you start to lie about the add-on?
Huh?
When did you start to lie that there isn't any add-on level?
Oh. Okay, I know what you're saying. We can't. Yeah, I can't say. We can't say. We you know, I always say to people, while we were doing the Living World, we were very committed to having like content, you know, really often, like always putting content out. But we are on the dev side, we're always thinking. We're always thinking, like, what are the big things that we'd like to do? What are the big features that we'd like to have? We're always thinking about it. So it's impossible to say, really.
Okay.
Like, when it actually, there's not like a clear line where we're like, now we're doing it. We never lie. We just dodge.
Yeah, I know.
We just say, no, we can't talk about it. Who knows what we're doing?
Do you have any questions? I'm keeping it. That's just
She's
your
doing it. Do you guys have anything else? I might be able to answer. We'll see.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. We got a discussion about buggers. Does they have eggs for these babies?
That I don't know. I'm not a story person. I can't give a definitive answer. I have to defer to the lore experts. It is a good question though. Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm actually interested in that now. I'm gonna go back and ask them. You guys have to have an answer for this. Yeah, no, thank you guys very much for coming. Yeah.
Oh, Manuela, you had the last question?
Oh,
What is the question no one asked for, but you wanted to answer?
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
No one ever asked this, but the Mastery system is totally account managed. Like the Mastery system it's very different than what you normally see. But we love alts, and we were like, yeah, let's just make it so you do it once, and then all of your characters can have it, and then any future characters you may have it too. Everyone just assumes that you have to do it again. Nope. Okay, cool. Anna, thank you guys so much. Thanks for coming.
I have